Were you scammed into signing a timeshare contract? And did you miss the part that said you have to pay for your great idea? Not only for the rest of your life, but when you're not here anymore, you get to pass this turkey onto your family for them to pay for the rest of their lives. Thanks, Dad. Don't burden your family down the road, and don't be stuck with expensive timeshare payments forever. Get out of your bad idea timeshare contract guaranteed, or pay nothing. Call Resort Release today and learn for free how their timeshare exit team can help you legally exit your timeshare contract. They've helped thousands of people, and they're A+ rated with a BBB. So if you feel scammed, get mad and get out of your expensive timeshare contract right now, guaranteed. Call NOW.
800-716-9903. 800-716-9903. 800-716-9903. That's 800-716-9903.
Hi, this is Bill Martinez. Join us every Monday through Friday from 9 to noon Eastern when we're covering the issues that matter most to you. From Obamacare, the latest from Russia, the Middle East, Israel, immigration, and more. We're talking with the policy and political experts so you can be better informed. It's Bill Martinez Live, brought to you in part by my friends at Good News Tax Relief. Let them help you get your peace of mind back by dealing with the IRS for you. Proven experience. Proven results. Call 800-255-7500.
Welcome to the Legal Lounge. I'm sort of a co-host here, Michael Horn, in for Mike Gary, who's away, but the star of our show is the guy we call Richard Nixon. That's his name. It's Richard Nixon Live. Welcome to the broadcast. Richard, good day to you.
Thank you,
Good to have you. Move that little microphone a little closer to you right there if you can. There you go. We got you set up there. That's good. How was your week going this week?
Very good. We had some good news from the Supreme Court.
We did?
Finally falling in line with President Trump, which we always knew he was right in the first place.
That's correct. So the Supreme Court, finally some good news coming in. We're going to talk about that a little bit. That happened this week. And you were mentioning, we were talking before the show, there's a lot of the other courts, these ninth district courts and stuff.
Yes.
Are we finally getting some judges? There were a lot of judges to be appointed and they weren't getting approved. Is that finally happening?
Well, yes, they are. And, you know, a lot of people like to criticize the head of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, for not doing enough for Trump, but yet Mitch McConnell's really beat the bushes and got a lot of these Ninth Circuit people pushed through.
Yeah.
Absolutely has.
And he has, so we can credit Mitch McConnell for helping.
Absolutely.
All right, that's good because, you know, politicians sometimes strange bedfellows, but I'm glad to hear that that's happening because, you know, we're the past 2 years of President Trump in office, and when you don't have a lot of these offices filled, you wonder, what the heck do these guys do? We put them in office and they're not approving people, whether you like the people they're putting up or not, then disapprove them so someone else comes in, but let's get these positions filled.
Yes, and of course it's no secret that the Ninth Circuit, a very liberal circuit, on the West Coast, is the most reversed circuit of the 13.
What do you mean by that, the most reversed circuit?
Well, they come out for the decision, and by the time it gets to the Supreme Court, it's reversed. And I mean, that's something like 85%, a reversal rate.
So an 85% rate that whatever the Ninth District Court says gets reversed by the Supreme Court.
Absolutely.
What does that tell you?
It tells you they're out of sync with the rest of the country and at least the Supreme Court.
How does that happen? Because, you know, in this show, if anything, for those of you that have tuned in, you're going to learn a lot about the Constitution, about the government and the separate departments, the legislature, the presidency, the Supreme Court over there. So all these things work together to work in our benefits there. There's three powers that check on each other, checks and balances in our government. How does that happen that judges who are supposed to be nonpartisan can turn out decisions that get reversed all the time? 85%, I'd be embarrassed to be on that court.
Yes, and you just used the magic word, they're nonpartisan, because they're really not. They don't put their politics aside. They make a lot of their decisions based on politics. Because remember, starting at 1803 in the Marbury versus Madison case, Justice Marshall declared without any authority that the Supreme Court had authority to overrule acts of Congress. There's no such thing in the Constitution.
So
it's not even implied.
That was never in the Constitution
Absolutely.
at all.
And Thomas Jefferson, he was president in 1803, said just that. Where are you getting this from? If the Founding Fathers had intended to give you power to revoke an act of Congress, they would have so stated. They did not. Well, we've lived with that tragedy since 1803, and no one has ever tried to reverse it.
Yeah. Well, and you're not... Hopefully you and I can reverse some things that we don't like. But I do want to mention one thing, and that is Richard Nixon, who is the host here of this program in our legal lounge. We want to remind you about all the good things you've done throughout the years and everything. And you've got a book. Tell us about your book.
Well, it's called America: An Illusion of Freedom.
Right.
I wrote the book because, and interestingly enough, Chapter 1 of the book happens to talk about Marbury versus Madison, basically because as an attorney, I was researching a particular
Hang on, we'll
issue.
talk a little bit more coming up here. Stay with us.
Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules contain 100% fine-ripened fruits and vegetables, tested pure with no pesticides, fillers, or additives of any kind, and are the most effective whole food supplements on the market today. You might ask, how can over 10 servings of 31 different fruits and vegetables fit into 6 vegetarian capsules? Fruits and vegetables are on an average 85% water. Balance of Nature uses cold vacuum technology to remove the water, leaving only the whole food. We don't use any heat, air, or light drying methods that damage nutrients. Our cold vacuum technology maintains 99% of the fresh fruits and vegetables' original nutritional value. Along with diet and exercise, Mother Nature provides fruits and vegetables to help us maintain good health.
To order, go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751 and use discount code FLASH.
We are back in automatic mode here in the Legal Lounge. I'm Michael Horn, in for Mike Gary. The star of our show is that good-looking gentleman right there. You can see us on Roku, on Facebook Live. You can see us on YouTube. We're talking about Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon just before the break, we were talking about your book. You've written a book called America, An Illusion of Freedom. This is an interesting title. America, An Illusion of Freedom, written by Richard A. Nixon. And by the way, that is his real name, Richard Nixon, given to him by his parents. And we're happy to have him here as part of our CRN staff. Tell me about the book.
Well, again, basically, I wrote the book because while I was researching on a particular case, I had occasion to actually look into the Constitution. And when I looked at the Constitution, its text, and then I looked at what the Supreme Court said, that text said, they were markedly different. And
So wait. So back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So they said when you look at a case, they would say the Supreme Court said this or whatever, and it was different than what's in the Constitution?
Absolutely. In other words, what the Supreme Court has done and started in 1803 is to rewrite the Constitution.
So here's the deal.
Yes.
Our whole government is based on the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and you're saying the Supreme Court, they rewrite it.
Yes.
Aren't you supposed to rewrite it with 2/3 majority on the states and all this kind of stuff?
Well, only Congress is supposed to write law.
Exactly.
Article 1 of the Constitution clearly says that all law will be written by Congress. It suggests very strongly then that no law should be written by the President or the Supreme Court. In fact, as I said, in Marbury versus Madison, Chief Justice Marshall just violated that rule and rewrote the Constitution by granting himself and the Supreme Court superior power over Congress.
What was Marbury versus Madison about? What was the basic case?
It had to do with some commissions that were for a lower-level federal employee, and they were supposed to be granted under the Adams administration, but once Jefferson took over, he put the kibosh on it, and Marbury brought an action saying, you've got to give me those commissions. And basically Jefferson said, no, we don't. Now, interestingly enough, the Supreme Court said, we don't have jurisdiction to hear this case. They dropped the case. And then they said, and we have jurisdiction to overrule acts of Congress. No basis for the decision.
So aren't decisions supposed to be based on law? When you go to court, when you and I go, if we unfortunately have to go to court, the judge will base it on written rule of law. I remember my cousin was a judge, Judge Denner, and he said he ruled in that famous case where the two couples, the couple were getting divorced, and the woman held back the lottery winning ticket and didn't. Remember that one?
Yes.
And he was the judge that ruled she was a fraud. She fraudulently held that back, and so he awarded all the money to the husband.
Yes.
And he said all the media came to talk to him, and nobody asked him what he based it on, because he based it on statute.
Yes.
And you're saying this decision, Marbury versus Madison, from the highest court of the land, was not based on any law because it wasn't based on the Constitution.
Well, there's at least 3 or 4 other defects in the Marbury case that I point out in my book, and one of them is that Marbury happened to be related by blood to Chief Justice Marshall. Second, the issue of jurisdiction was not even broached in the case. In other words, it's called obiter dictum. Whenever a judge or jury makes a decision on an issue that was not presented or briefed in the case, it's useless information. It's superfluous. So my point is, they should never have even made this decision, but they had the opportunity to do it, and no one could overrule them, so that's what they did.
And Marbury versus Madison, famous case, and we're living under that decision.
And by the way,
in this day and age,
there are more and more people who are on the bandwagon recognizing that Marbury was ill-decided. We mentioned Whitaker, the former, I think, part-time Attorney General when Session quit.
Before this last Attorney General,
and then we have all kinds of different people basically saying that the most ironic part is this. We have a situation where if the federal courts are in charge, we have one federal judge, unelected, from Hawaii, that overruled the President of the United States when it had to do with the travel ban.
Travel ban to protect us against maybe those that wanted to do harm to us in this country.
Now, does anyone think that an unelected federal judge is supposed to supersede a president who was properly elected? No one. And this is an upshot of allowing the federal government, at least the judiciary, to have too much power.
Well, but there is supposed to be checks and balances. Isn't the judiciary supposed to keep check on the executive branch, in this case the president?
It's interesting. Thank you for asking that, because Chapter 2 talks about it.
Your Chapter 2. We're talking about his book, by the way. You need to get this book, America: An Illusion of Freedom. I have read this book, and it's excellent. Chapter 2 talks about it in what way?
Well, the question is, between the judiciary and Congress, who is really in charge as per the Constitution? If you look at Article 3, Section 2, Paragraph 2, in my book and in the Constitution, it clearly says that the Supreme Court has jurisdiction both as to law and to fact, as dictated to by Congress.
So Congress makes the laws.
Congress is in charge.
They're the only ones that should be making the law, right?
Absolutely.
So the Supreme Court should be kicking it back to the legislature to say, this is not law. You need to, if you want to make a law, you got to redo it.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't happen.
They
make the law by their decision.
And here's the problem, that Congress, given the fact that it's kicked down the road, Congress would rather that you criticize the Supreme Court than themselves. This is why Congress passes the buck to the Supreme Court so often.
Throw it in the reverse
Absolutely.
over there. This is the biggest thing, and this is really, it sticks in my craw about this, because the guys that are supposed to be making the laws, in this case Congress, the House and the Senate,
yes,
they don't want to get a bad rating, even though their rating is like 10% or 9% approval rating now. They don't want to get the bad rap they're making a law, so they'd rather have the Supreme Court make the law, so it takes it off them so they can be re-elected to their...
Exactly. And this is what happened in the gay marriage cases and in the abortion cases. The Supreme Court made those decisions. That law is written by the Supreme Court, not by Congress.
Not by Congress, which is where it should have been made. And I speak from, every day. My representative where I live is Adam Shifty Schiff.
Oh, boy.
And I got to tell you, We got a lot of potholes and we got a lot of problems in my district that he represents.
Yes.
He doesn't do one thing to help us. He was elected by we, the people in our district, there to represent us in the House of Representatives, but he has broader things, his own political power. He doesn't do nothing to help the local constituency that elected him, and that's a problem. And who watches over that? It's out of control.
Absolutely. So anyway, do we want to get into the building of the wall? And
yeah, let's talk about
Senator,
this. So let's. We've got a lot of things to cover here on the show today, but I do want to say that the Marbury versus Madison. Just before we leave that,
yes.
You think that could be appealed someday and it may be thrown out? Seriously, you think
yes.
that, Richard Nixon?
I think Justice Thomas and others have hinted that if they get the appropriate case, they will. Again. We're not asking them to do much. We're simply saying follow the Constitution as written. And Thomas and Scalia and the other conservatives, they take an oath to follow the Constitution, yet they don't quite follow it. They're affected by previous cases called precedents. That has to be fixed.
We'll see if that happens for you. I want to remind all of you, don't forget to get Richard Nixon's book. It's called America, An Illusion of Freedom, written by Richard Nixon. Is it at your website, by the way?
It is.
What's the website?
PRES37TH at AOL.com.
Give it one more time.
PRES37TH at AOL.com.
We'll be back.
Hey, Lorraine, do you realize that your mother, my mother-in-law, Chef Maria, has been serving Las Vegas since 1949?
Yes, I do, Dennis. That's when she first met Howard Hughes, who fell in love with her cooking.
And in 1955, she opened her first restaurant on Fremont Street.
Yes, dear. And another great customer was Liberace.
Wow. Then in 1962, while Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack were causing global excitement on the Las Vegas Strip, your family opened their second restaurant.
And in 1972, Elvis Presley began electrifying Las Vegas audiences and eating in our restaurants.
You know, Lorraine, this is quite a town. There's only one Las Vegas.
And there's only one Bootlegger Italian Bistro.
Folks, when you're in Las Vegas, come visit us. We'll make you feel like you're part of our family.
The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, conveniently located at 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard, South Strip. Visit our website at www.bootleggerlasvegas.com.
We are the debt destroyer. Any debt you have, credit card, tax, student loan debt, call now to get our free report that tells you how to destroy your debt. It's a great resource. Plus, when you make this free call right now, we'll have a debt destroyer expert ready to help you. They can show you how they can help you destroy your debt and get your life back on track. Debt problems don't have to be overwhelming. You can live stress-free and debt-free. Credit cards, medical bills, IRS tax problems, even student loan debt. Learn about free programs offered by the credit card companies, hospitals, and even the government that can help you slash your debt. Call right now for free information, including our Debt Destroyer Guide, a $300 value, yours free. Call right now.
800-515-6348. 800-515-6348. That's 800-515-6348.
Hi, everyone. This is Fred Dreyer telling you about my favorite Italian restaurant. It's Angelo's and Vinci's in Fullerton, California. Angelo's and Vinci's has the best pasta, the best seafood, the best salad, spaghetti, lasagna, and the most incredible pizza. And the chicken is delicious. Marsala, piccata, cacciatore, parmigiana, and more. For desserts, try our spumoni or our tiramisu, my favorite, flown in fresh from Italy. And the cannolis and the zeppolis are out of this world. Open for lunch and dinner. And don't miss the Sunday champagne brunch, just $23.95. Are you kidding me? It's all up the road from Disneyland at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Angelo's and Vinci's, like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Call 714-879-4022 or visit us online at angeloandvincis.com.
Having some fun here in the Legal Lounge Yours truly, Michael Horn, in for Mike Gary, who's away on vacation. He deserves a couple of days. The guy works very hard. He's a good man. He is a co-host here along with the star of our show, Richard Nixon, the program Richard Nixon Live, the Legal Lounge. And just to correct everything before we get back to Richard, and that is the website where you can go and get Richard's book, which is American Illusion of Freedom, is Prez, www.prez, P-R-E-S, as in President, P-R-E-S 37, T-H, 37.wix.com/America. And that's, again, if you're watching us on Facebook Live or if you're watching us on CRN Talk or you're seeing us on Roku, that's up there on the screen. But we'll give it a few times throughout the show because I think you want to get a copy of this book. It is great. It'll set stuff straight. And by the way, the book is not a criticism of the country. It's a criticism of the government. Is that right, Richard Nixon?
Absolutely. And thank you for making that distinction, Mike.
Yeah.
And in fact, I quote Thomas Paine that says it is the duty of the patriot to protect the country from the government. So my book criticizes the people, the government, and their operations, not this country itself.
And again, his website, Richard Nixon's website, www.prez. Remember, his name is Richard Nixon, and we say Richard Nixon Live. Richard Nixon, the president, was the 37th president of the United States.
Yes.
So that's easy to remember. Prez, P-R-E-S, 37th, .wix.com/America. And you can learn all about Richard Nixon, Richard A. Nixon. Is that correct with you?
Yes, it is.
Richard A. Nixon Live, who's here with us in studio every week at this time. Now, let's get into some more facts because you got a lot of stuff. We talked Marbury versus Madison. Let's talk about this power to build the wall. What's going on here?
Yes. Well, under 8 U.S.C. 1158, the Attorney General has the power to build the wall. It's
the Attorney General does.
Absolutely. And the Attorney General's decision is not renewable by any court. And basically what that says, what the code section says, is that if there is an existing situation calling for the military, which is what Trump did, he sent troops to the border.
Okay.
Once those troops are situated, if the Attorney General thinks that it's necessary to aid these soldiers, if you will, in their pursuit of whatever their job is, they can order new construction projects at any time for any reason.
So the Attorney General has the right to go ahead and build a wall protecting our military, which
Absolutely.
is what's going on. They're
Yes.
sitting there on that border.
Absolutely.
We got to protect them. They've already asked for it. The Border Patrol has said, we need help. We need we need the wall built up, rebuilt in some of these areas and places, and that's what they want to do. So this isn't like what you feel, and most people that feel there shouldn't be a wall probably have a huge fence around their house, for gosh sakes. This is simply a law, and there's no feelings in laws. It's just a fact, and that is the Attorney General has the power to build the wall.
Yes. Now remember, Mike, we just said a few minutes ago about Article 3, Section 2, Paragraph 2, where Congress has the authority to withhold jurisdiction from the courts to hear any matter. That's exactly what they did in 8 U.S.C. 1158. The Attorney General's decision is not reviewable by any court, period.
So they reviewed his decision, and they have no power to do that,
Absolutely.
according to the Constitution.
That's right.
So they broke the law.
Absolutely.
And no, not one news media, fake news, is doing anything about this or even bringing it. You're the only show that has brought this on any news media that I've heard of.
I think you're right. Well, there are more and more people joining the chorus now, recognizing that instead of blindly following what Marbury versus Madison did,
yes,
they're going to start reflecting on what the Constitution actually says. And when you do that, you come up with the truth, and the truth should always prevail.
And I hope that is happening here as we see it sort of sift through, as they call it, the swamp. This is, a lot of people like to put labels. You're a Democrat, you're a Republican,
Yes.
You're this. People have called me things for years. Hey, I answer to Mike. That's the best way. But I tell you that the reason I support the president, first off, whether I agree or disagree, I'll always support the president, just the same way you said. It's about having respect for the country. You got to respect the guy in that office. Whether
Yes.
you agree with him or not is a different story. But I like Trump because he's not the cookie cutter politician. He's doing things as he sees to try to improve the country. He's not taking a salary, for God's sakes. What's he there for? He's trying to make things better for us, and I think that's what we're trying to see here. So you're saying, getting back here, the Attorney General has the power to build the wall. The Attorney General can order that. That is what's been done. The legislature, in this case Congress, has no right to go ahead and stop it, and so this should be going forward, but
Yes.
It's not, is it?
And it's all part of the military construction projects and the ability of the president through the Attorney General to order any kind of new construction that will help the Army, if you will, in their purpose of being on the border.
All right, we got more coming up on this here as we continue. This is the Legal Lounge on CRN. Richard Nixon live. He is our constitutional expert here. Good-looking guy, too, if you're checking him out on Facebook Live or at Roku. We'll be back here at CRN. Don't forget, get that book, America, An Illusion of Freedom. It's at his website, prez37th.wix.com/America. We'll be back.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I was singing in the shower, singing El Solo Mio. Oh, Solo Mio. As I was singing Mio, I sneezed. So I'm drying up, and I sneeze again. And I blow my nose. A whole bunch of stuff comes out. I'm suddenly realizing that I am breathing out of my nose the best I've ever breathed out of my nose in years. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden now I'm breathing. What has happened in the past year? I'm a talented agent. Little by little every day, if I experience it, I'm happy. I'm sure this has to do with balance of nature. I'm sure it does.
When you call, use discount code FLASH, and we'll take 20% off any first preferred order of Balance of Nature and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FLASH.
Destination South Point. 11 great restaurants, bingo, bowling, movies, race books, sports books, spa, live entertainment, oversized rooms, and the rates unbeatable. The South Point Las Vegas. Book now. Online at southpointcasino.com or call 866-791-7626. southpointcasino.com or call 866-791-7626. At the South Point Las Vegas, you're always a winner.
Hi, everyone. This is Fred Dreyer telling you about my favorite Italian restaurant. It's Angelo's and Vinci's in Fullerton, California. Angelo's and Vinci's has the best pasta, the best seafood, the best salad, spaghetti, lasagna, and the most incredible pizza. And the chicken is delicious. Marsala, piccata, cacciatore, parmigiana, and more. For desserts, try our spumoni or our tiramisu, my favorite, flown in fresh from Italy. And the cannolis and the zeppolis are out of this world. Open for lunch and dinner. And don't miss the Sunday champagne brunch, just $23.95. Are you kidding me? It's all up the road from Disneyland at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Angelo's and Vinci's, like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Call 714-879-4022 or visit us online at angeloandvincis.com.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the Tax Helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. That's 800-932-1597.
Enjoy Tiki Live, the best cable alternative choice today, with hundreds of premium live TV programming, including ESPN, CNN, Fox News, Disney, AMC, Bravo, XF, OWN, and CRN Talk. Plus, no contracts and low month-to-month service. Tiki Live, servicing North America, including the Caribbean. To get started, visit TikiLive.com to order hundreds of channels, including CRN Talk, at a fraction of what you're paying today. Visit TikiLive.com. That's TikiLive.com. Best bumper music in the history of talk radio, and you got it here on the Legal Lounge with Richard Nixon, and we call the show Richard Nixon Live. That is his name, Richard Nixon. Among other things, being a constitutional expert, he has written a book called America, An Illusion of Freedom. He talks about the Constitution and how it sets up our government and whether we're following that or not. You can check it all out at his website. The website, if you're looking on our screen, is there for you. I'll give it to all the radio listeners. Prez37th, www.prez, as in president, P-R-E-S 37th, like president 37th, .wix.com/America. And that is our host here today for Richard Nixon Live. You know, this Utah Senator, Richard, he was talking about the interpretation of the court's power. Give us some background on this whole thing. On what's Mike Lee? Is that the guy's name?
Yes, Mike Lee, the senior senator from Utah,
along with Mitt Romney. Boy, that state's to change their conservatism. I'll tell you that. But anyway, tell us about Mike Lee.
Well, he seems to be concerned with the president usurping Congress's power in regarding the purse. Now, it's certainly true that Congress has the sole authority to dispense and pigeonhole money.
So however, they take care of the money, right? Congress, gotcha.
However, what Mike Lee, I think, fails to recognize is that 8 U.S.C. 1158 that we talked about before was a grant of power by the Congress to the president. So I don't know how he can argue that there's been this usurpation. Also, Mike Lee was on the short list for Supreme Court.
Yeah, wasn't he on
under
Trump's?
Yes.
Trump had him picked on the list as a potential guy to go to the Supreme Court, right?
So we know he has, let's say, thoughts or hopes of being on the Supreme Court. I'm not sure they're not dashed now, though. But he totally ignores the judiciary's usurpation of congressional power. The judiciary has literally emasculated Congress because they just take over. There's so many instances we can go over in future cases where the Supreme Court has simply overtaken what Congress has written, in spite of the fact that Congress has more authority, more opportunities to determine constitutionality than does the judiciary. They're limited to the papers before them. That is the judiciary.
They should be interpreting the law as to whether it fits under the rules of the laws of the Constitution.
Congress can call in any expert they want when they're writing this law to determine its constitutionality.
Except Hillary Clinton.
So no one is more prepared than Congress when it comes to writing a law. Now it's second-guessed by the judiciary, which has less power to determine the same issues. And again, why Mike Lee, as bright and as qualified as he is, doesn't recognize usurpation by the judiciary when maybe it's because he's hoping to be sitting on the bench.
The executive order, the power given to the president, that was given to the president from the legislative branch, from the House and the Senate, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what we're talking about here. They gave him the power to do this, and then when he does it, the Congress is saying, wait a minute, that's not what we meant. You can't have that power. Now they're interpreting their own law. That's not the way it works.
And we have other cases that hold that where the president has been given power expressly by the Congress, he is at his zenith of power, period. So he couldn't have any more power, not only what he has for himself, but what Congress has willingly given to him. And also, when you add the fact that the law says that the Attorney General's decision is not reviewable by any court, he couldn't have any more power than this statute gives him.
Exactly. The power is there. So back off a little bit here, right?
And any objection is clearly political.
Now let's look at the opposite of that a little bit. Let's go to the state. And we broadcast from Hollywood, California. Our governor is Governor Newsom, Gavin Newsom, and he put out an executive order, and he wants to stop the death penalty. But yet, wasn't there a vote by the people, we, the citizens, saying, I think it was, with Prop 66, whatever, we wanted the death penalty? Give us some background on this.
Well, again, the governor takes the same oath as the president does, that the supreme executive power of the state is vested in the governor, and the governor shall see that the law is faithfully executed. So in this case, where does the governor have the authority to not enforce the law? The law, as presented by Proposition 66, passed by the people. By the way, an initiative has more power than an executive, a legislative law, because it takes 2/3 of the legislature to undo that. So the point is, again, there could be no higher authority against the governor in this case when he's trying to put the kibosh on the death penalty.
So he's just trying to use his authority to throw out the death penalty. You can't just do that, especially when the citizens have voted, hey, we want this thing instigated and we want to get some of these bad boys and girls off the rolls here, and let's get the death penalty and clear them out. You got overcrowded prisons. What better way to get rid of the bad boys by taking them out?
And as Michelle Hannessy, who is president of the Association of Deputy District Attorneys, says, you don't do anything except create a roadblock at the end. In other words, the courts are still going to go forward with these cases. They're still going to have trials. They're still going to spend all this money trying to retry the person or expedite the appeals. And what happens at the very end? You can't execute him. What have you saved? You haven't saved anything.
A thing, right?
Now, and again, the best thing that she cites is the irony in the promise to use an executive order which usurps. They criticize the president for not using the executive order to usurp the Congress. And in this case, we're using the executive order to usurp the will of the people.
Exactly, and so this is the deal. But then, so this is not only on the national level. This is on the state level as well too. This stuff affects everybody. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's going to be pretty interesting there. So you're going to be talking about that, I'm sure too. This is contradicting the law, not the power of the president or the governor. Get more from Richard Nixon. Go to his website, pres37th.wix.com/America. That is where you want to go. What are we coming back with, Richard? What are we going to be talking about?
Well, we have the Trump's Supreme Court victory regarding criminal aliens for deportation. That's an interesting one.
Yep.
And then Senator Blunt from Missouri was...
Oh, boy.
He was disinvited to one of his own speeches.
Shouldn't open your mouth that much. You might get disinvited places.
And the Electoral College.
All right, we'll get all that going at you here. Richard Nixon live in our legal lounge. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Fred Dwyer, former Rams defensive end. Football season just ended, and you can bet teams are already hard at work scouting new talent for next season. But if you're running a small business, you need to know where to go to find top recruits. LinkedIn, it's where people go every day to make connections, grow in their careers, and discover new job opportunities. LinkedIn Jobs takes the time to learn more about who you're looking for and then recommends the qualified candidates you want to spend time talking to make a quality hire you're excited about. Customers rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires, and posting your job on LinkedIn gives you the best chance of finding and starting a conversation with your next star recruit. It's no surprise a new hire is made every 8 seconds using LinkedIn. So build your winning team by posting your job opportunity on LinkedIn and visit linkedin.com/solution. Get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/solution. Terms and conditions apply.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
We are back in a jam-packed legal lounge for you. I'll tell you that today. I'm Michael Horn in for Mike Gary. Mike is on vacation. He'll be back with you next week. In the meantime, the star of our show, he never vacates. He is always here in the legal lounge. We're talking about Richard Nixon, the host of this program. Go to his website, prez37th.wix.com/America. And he has written a book that you can get there at that website, America, An Illusion of Freedom by Richard A. Nixon. Check it out. And by the way, if you were in the Army, Richard was in the Army from 1963 to 1965. He was also in Vietnam in 1968, and you were in the Army during that time, Richard. You invite people to go to your website or email you from the website there, and you'll send them a free copy of your book.
Absolutely. Happy to.
Yeah, and again, the website, www.prez37th.wix.com/America. All right, so President Trump got a Supreme Court victory you were talking about at the beginning of the show.
Absolutely.
With me. What happened?
Well, President Trump was trying to root out some of the so-called criminal aliens, people who had already been convicted of crimes,
right,
who were also here illegally. He wanted to root them out and deport them. What the Ninth Circuit did, we've talked about the Ninth Circuit before. Of course, the Ninth Circuit ruled the other way. They basically said that the statute that he was operating under said that he had to pick these people up, if you will, when they were finished with their criminal prosecution.
So they were prosecuted, and if they were found guilty, you had to pick them up immediately, right?
No, once they served their time.
Once they served their time.
And you had to be there, if you will, almost at the jailhouse gate to pick them up.
And then deport them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because why are you going to do that? You're going to say, well, they served their time. Why would you deport them? Because of something you said a little earlier. I think I heard a word illegal. So
Yes.
if they are not a citizen of the United States, that's still, you're illegal as a alien. You're illegal as a person. You get deported.
Absolutely. But what the Ninth Circuit held is that, well, you have to do it almost immediately. You can't do it 10 days later or 3 months later.
So what did the Supreme Court say?
The Supreme Court said, no, we have to look at the whole statute and the purpose of the statute. The purpose of the statute is to rule out, if you will, the bad guys among the illegals as opposed to other illegals. We can prioritize, which is exactly what Obama did too. So we can prioritize, and in this particular case, the person had finished his conviction time in 2006, and he wasn't picked up till 2013. The Supreme Court said that's okay.
He can be deported.
He can be deported.
That's a win. That's good. That's a win for all
Absolutely.
of us. You want to get rid of the bad elements. Come on, if they're here illegally and they're bad, get them out. Now, this guy, Senator Blunt of Missouri, what happened to this guy? He was, you said, disinvited somewhere?
Well, Senator Blunt, who has been a staunch supporter of President Trump, took an about-face on this last go-around regarding the emergency situation that President Trump declared, and ruled he was one of the 12 that ruled against President Trump.
So you're talking about being able to build the wall,
Yes.
and they had the vote in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. And he was one that, as a Republican, said, "Hey, we shouldn't make this law. We shouldn't set this precedent of allowing the president to go ahead and make this executive order for this." And it's like it's been going on forever, hasn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
The Congress gave the power to the president, not this president, to past presidents, and President Trump is just using that same law.
And Senator Blunt was invited to his hometown to give a speech, and after he gave this vote of being against Trump, he was disinvited.
So,
that is good.
Much
That
the
is
same
so
way I said about Adam Shifty Schiff, who is my representative. The people of Missouri did the same thing to their senator. Said, hey, we don't want to hear you speak anymore. You're not representing what we feel.
And, Trump was very kind of unusually polite. Before the vote, he said, I want you guys to vote your conscience.
He did say that to the Senate,
He did say that. Yes, he did. Now, you know what he was saying, though, but you better vote for me. You should vote for me, or you're going to take a chance, and that's exactly what happened to Blunt here in Missouri. The people who voted for Trump did it for a reason. They were so fed up with what they call the swamp today, where neither politician solves the problem. For 30 years, we've been talking about immigration, and nobody does anything. All they do is mouth those same things. Well, we got to have comprehensive reform. They never do a thing till Trump. And this is why those two groups, the Republicans and the Democrats, hate him so much.
From your lips to the good Lord's ears. I ran for a Chamber of Commerce president in a town one time, and I thought, there were like 7 people at the meeting, and nobody wanted to run, and they nominated me, and I said, okay, and they voted me in, and I brought in a few Dick Sinclair and some radio people, and we had 50 people, then 100, then 200, and I started doing things. I saw graffiti here or there, and what I found out at that stage is nobody wanted to really change anything. They wanted to keep it all the same. And here's President Trump, who I never tell you I voted for, but I did vote for Trump, and I'll vote for him again.
Absolutely.
Because he's doing something about the problems. The one guy that's done something, and everybody else wants to, let's not do anything. Just give us free stuff and let's not do anything. It's about time we had somebody cleaning up the swamp.
Absolutely, and I'm so grateful, and I hope the rest of the country is as well. And I think they are. Those people who voted, when the people look at what the Democrat Party stands for now, at least infanticide and so many other things that they've now come on, they're pro-socialism, more and more of these things kind of squeak out into Channel 2, 4, and 7, the more of those people will join Trump.
And so what's going to happen to Blunt? Do you think they're going to invite him back for any more speaking engagements?
I think he's learned a lesson. I think he'll be all right.
All right, coming up now, we got to talk about this electoral college, because a lot of people say, we got to change this. This is not fair. The person who gets the most votes should get it. I think you have some comments on this coming up. Am I right?
Yes.
All right, that's going to be coming your way in the Legal Lounge. Richard Nixon, our host. Check him out at the website. Don't forget, he has written a book called America, An Illusion of Freedom by Richard A. Nixon. His website, www.pres37th.wix.com/America. We'll be back.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Michael Horn from CRNTalk.com. We provide you with the best in talk radio. 8 channels of talk radio, from radio on the left, radio on the right, sports talk, business talk, religious talk, Spanish talk, you name it, we've got talk radio for you. All at CRNTalk.com. Well, now we'll bring you video as well as audio. That's right. Watch your favorite shows like The Robert Conrad Show, The Fred Dreyer Program, What's Cooking Today, What's Cooking on Wine, The Lounge, and so many other shows in video right at our website, crntalk.com. You can also watch us on Roku. Just search CRN Talk, and you can watch us on Roku on any TV anywhere in the world. Also on Facebook Live. Go to facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Roku, search CRN Talk. Check us out on Tiki Live and at crntalk.com. Video for you talk fans, all from CRN Talk.
We are the debt destroyer. Any debt you have, credit card, tax, student loan debt. Call now to get our free report that tells you how to destroy your debt. It's a great resource. Plus, when you make this free call right now, we'll have a debt destroyer expert ready to help you. They can show you how they can help you destroy your debt and get your life back on track. Debt problems don't have to be overwhelming. You can live stress-free and debt-free. Credit cards, medical bills, IRS tax problems, even student loan debt. Learn about free programs offered by the credit card companies, hospitals, and even the government that can help you slash your debt. Call right now for free information, including our Debt Destroyer Guide, a $300 value, yours free. Call right now.
800-515-6348. 800-515-6348. That's 800-515-6348.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Seekers of luscious and appetizing gustatorial pursuits, indulge your fancies with steaks so absolutely yum-yum. Vegetarians have forsaken kale and Pilates and never look back. Fish specialties so fresh and delicious and chosen by King Neptune himself, and relish Columbo's Italian family specialties so delectable you'll be yelling out, bravo, bravo! And let's not forget Columbo's world-famous meatballs, and you've got to try their breakfast pizza. Oh, and jazz every night. Service that's friendly, not phoning, and at a price that'll keep you coming back. That's Columbo's, that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's, Manja.
Well, it's been my privilege and pleasure to sit in for Mike Gary today on this edition of the Legal Lounge. I'm Michael Horn for Mike Gary, the star of our show. Richard Nixon is here. Richard A. Nixon, that Richard Nixon, the author of the book America, An Illusion of Freedom. You can pick it up at his website, which is Pres37th, Pres37th.wix.com/America. Richard, just one other thought here a little bit on this executive order thing that people are all bunched up about that President Trump is using to go ahead and build the wall. There's like over 30 executive orders that are in existence today from other presidents and everyone else, right?
Absolutely, and they have much of the same spirit, that is protecting one country's boundaries from another country. We bother to do that. We protect that. And yet when it comes to protecting our own southern border, we can't seem to muster the guts to do it.
All right, Electoral College, final point here on the show. A lot of people saying, well, let's throw out the Electoral College. Hillary Clinton got more overall votes than President Trump. She should be the winner of it. And yet the founders of our country put the Electoral College in for a reason.
Absolutely. They were concerned with what they called sectionalism. That is, avoiding one area controlling the next or the whole country.
So one area of the country, one section controlling the whole country based on the population, right?
Yes. And since they knew that there were certain population areas that is more densely populated versus lesser populated, the whole idea of federalism is that some things are state-based and other things are population-based. That's the basis for our Senate and our House of Representatives.
There you go, right?
The House is based on population. The Senate is based strictly on federalism, to the extent that even New Hampshire is as powerful as California in the Senate.
Because every state has just 2 senators. That's it. Every state is equal. But in the House of Representatives, a state like California, New York, will have many more representatives than the state of Wyoming or Idaho, because it's not that densely populated.
And we have to recognize that the Founding Fathers never intended this country to be a democracy. It is
what do you mean by that?
It is a republic, which is a representative democracy, meaning we elect representatives. The representatives, supposedly cooler heads, will make the legislation that we need.
Right.
So it's purposely done, and it's purposely cumbersome to do it so that we don't change the law every third day. So the point is, this whole idea of popular vote was kiboshed way in the beginning. The Founding Fathers knew exactly what they were doing. This was a way to protect the minorities from a sheer number of population.
Because otherwise, they just campaign the candidates in New York and Los Angeles, get the mass amount of votes, or you get all the California votes and all the New York votes. They wouldn't need any votes from anywhere else, right?
They would
throw all their money in there and just buy the election.
They would totally ignore Montana, Wyoming, and all the southern states, or I should say western states.
So they would not have any say in electing the president of their own country.
The Electoral College ensured that states like Montana, Wyoming, and so on would be heard in a presidential election by using Electoral College.
And they wouldn't have as many electoral votes in Wyoming as they do in California.
Exactly.
However, their 5 or 7 electoral votes could tip the election in favor of a particular candidate. And that is why, that's the genius. It is genius behind the Electoral College, and it works for both the Democrat and the Republicans based on what the country wants. I don't see why you want to change that, and then it'll just be a popularity contest, which will only have a couple of areas of the country's electoral electing our president every year.
And then we
every
have to
4
remember,
years.
it's the majority of each of the 435 districts. Whatever that majority is what we then comprise the majority of all the districts. Remember, we have 435 different districts throughout the 50 states.
30 seconds to say goodbye. Thanks so much for being with us. Any final thoughts?
Just that Trump is on the right track, and for those people who were maybe at one time never Trumpers, I hope they're learning.
Check Richard Nixon out at his website, www.wix.com/America. Richard, it's a pleasure working with you. Hope to be with you again. I love the Legal Lounge. We'll see you guys next week. Mike Gary will be back. Thank you, Richard.
You did almost as well as Mike Gary, Mike.
Thanks so much. I'm going to strive.
CRN Digital Talk Radio prides itself on being the station of every situation. Of course, you can always listen live through your local cable TV provider, as well as on our website at crntalk.com. But if cutting-edge technology is more your style, you'll be happy to know that CRN is now available on Wi-Fi radio. Simply log on to receive